Can I reel this back into your original point, though? Because your first statement got my mind going immediately, where you said you love free speech, you think it's important, but it's so dangerous. I want to kind of challenge that, because there's the other end of that spectrum, and I would isn't that also dangerous? Like no free speech or
100%
tethered free speech, isn't that also dangerous? So I mean,
you have to have it.
We have to make a value judgment here. As far as like what do we value as a country, and there's going to be setbacks to any decision we make. If we decide that we want some kind of authoritarian police state where nobody is allowed to voice their own opinion, you can have that, and then some things are going to be alleviated. Some culture. Some cultural issues.
We have so many things we can debate.
Well, I mean, but honestly, like in that example, like if you shut down the country, like I mean, I'm thinking more like North Korea, obviously, and it's like, does North Korea have no crime? I don't know. I mean, they would purport that it's extremely safe, but it's like also, are they even like, what's the incentive to be clear with whatever crime there may be?
Well, crime is just what the government says is crime. Yeah. So when you're, I mean, that is what it is. They dictate what is criminal.
Society. I think society.
In a society like North Korea,
might as well pull
the North Korean
society off and talk about immigration.
Okay. Two different things. Okay.
Well, he brought up North Korea.
So in America, okay.
But I'm saying
in North Korea is different.
That example, North Korea is deciding what is criminal.
Yes.
So they can manufacture
on the spot
whatever.
At times,
they can manufacture whatever.
To clarify, I agree with you, but I'm even talking about like from a transparency outside of the state.
Exactly.
Like why
we don't know what's going on.
We wouldn't know. So why would they have there's no incentive to tell the Western world look, we fucking cut people's dicks off if they say anything about the supreme leader, and everybody has to fucking fake cry when anybody fucking dies. That's a government official, and also he doesn't shit ever or whatever. Beat fucking Dennis Rodman in the basketball game. All this stupid shit. We all have to fucking agree with that and never think about it critically.
Trump has IQ of 180.
But
that's what I heard.
But we still have carjackings. If there's anybody that even has cars, we still have people that
runs a 4-4.
Whatever. So it's like, but either way,
I just want to clarify on freedom of speech.
Please. Yeah.
I'm for it. Sure. I think it's very important and it's safe. But it's just dangerous just to why we have so much disdain amongst each other.
I think we can be open about that.
Yeah.
Obviously we know it's necessary, but you can, just because something is overall a positive, it doesn't mean it doesn't come
with a negative. Correct.
Associated.
And to the North Korea thing, what's funny is I was literally on a phone call today with the guy I work with, and I was something of Kim Jong Un was on the Google suggested stories, and I was like, what if I'm like what if I said, do you think that Kim Jong Un is actually the good guy and we're all the bad guys?
Dude, it's all about perspective.
I'm like, the whole world is against one guy. He's like, yeah, okay. I was like, oh, you see how bizarre that fucking sounds? Mm-hmm. And then that would lead me to obviously another guy who mimics some things. But going on here,
what the fuck are you talking about, Paul? You're speaking very cryptic for the audience. You're talking about Putin?
Putin's one of them.
He's talking about Trump.
Oh man!
I was taking up
what do you mean?
How'd
you even make that connection, though? How'd you make that connection?
I wasn't able to do it. That's the point.
So can you clarify this now? Is he Kim Jong Un or is he Hitler?
No,
I'm not.
Okay, all right. So the Hitler thing. No, we can get to the Hitler thing.
Because he only can be one.
No.
Right?
Okay, no one's calling him Hitler.
He's an amalgamation.
We're not killing him Hitler or calling him Hitler.
He's a Nazi though.
Okay, his Secretary of Defense is a Nazi.
Ooh.
Have we not shown? I've shown you that picture of Pete Hegseth.
Of what?
Of his of the tattoo on his chest.
It's a Nazi tattoo?
It's the Aryan cross right on his fucking chest.
Aryan cross?
Can you bring it up on your phone? I mean on the tablet? Are we able to?
I can separately, but I can't actually share it. I was trying to share with the Room 40 thing, which we never got into. I don't know.
Would you like me to spill the beans on what that is?
I pulled up a historical British. Is that
nope.
Not? Okay, so it's
he was gonna embarrass you on your own pod and say, "Do you have Room 40's nuts?"
Damn it!
I love it, Chris. You're the best.
Thank you for that, Chris.
And I always
stole your thunder, but
I'll always love you.
Well, he spared me anyways. He ended up just coming through and said, "Love y'all."
I love you, brother.
We love you too.
But no, while we're doing that.
Yes. No, but what did you just ask me to look up?
The Pete
Aryan
Hegseth
cross.
No, Pete Hegseth tattoo. That's all you gotta do.
They argue it's a Christian thing.
Brother,
I don't know.
Here, let's see what it is first. We'll do
Okay.
Pete
I'm not
Hegseth,
religious, so I don't know.
But I remember now about the experts. We've gotten to a place to where we act as if experts have no merit, as if their lifelong duty to research to their craft makes them a liar and insufficient.
It doesn't make them a liar, but it doesn't make what they say the truth. Also, they have discredited themselves. Okay, that looks like a cross, but I don't know the implication of it.
Okay, so look up the
looks like a fucking sick cross, bro.
4 iron crosses. An iron cross has been associated with the Aryan Brotherhood.
Okay, so just so you know, I don't know when he had the tattoo.
Is this so?
But if you're
is
active
this so
duty,
bad to be a fucking
if you're active duty,
Aryan,
which he was at some
Aryan?
point, you would get booted out for that.
Okay, so he got it after. So he's just
if he got it after. I don't know when he got it.
Yeah, it's like when that guy's running your Department of Defense. I don't know the Stephen Miller, all these white nationalists, these uber religious people. Yeah, man, there's some shit to it. The white nationalism's real, and that's something that we talked about before. Of do you think that there's a possibility that white nationalism is real?
Of course, that's real.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's made up. I don't think it's. I don't think it's pervasive in our culture.
Okay.
So
I don't think there's any evidence of that.
But so what do you think about like the people showing up in Memphis, Tennessee, literally geared up, walking with Nazi flag with a Nazi flag, chanting?
That's the super shitty part about free speech.
Right,
Is
but
I have to look at shit that I don't like.
Isn't that prevalent?
I think those people are bad.
But those people,
I think people that wave Nazi flags
and we
are
agree there.
despicable.
Okay, so where we disagree,
right? Yeah, really fringe opinion on that.
It's such a fucking brave soldier.
Yeah, I mean,
but
Yeah.
when
but
those
is that
people,
indicative of where the country's at?
no, but I will say,
Would you paint? Okay, and people were
No.
doing the same thing with Black Lives Matter when they torched what was it, Minneapolis? Minneapolis. Do you think it would be fair for Republicans or conservatives to make the argument that that's reflective of the entire movement?
but they
Well,
did
which they
though.
do. They
They
do,
did.
but-
They
And
did,
have.
but now you're doing it,
Yeah.
and you're claiming it's
Fair enough.
okay.
No, what I'm saying is those people exist.
They do.
Those people are for one party and for one politician.
So are people
Okay,
that
and
fall into the Black Lives Matter movement.
100%. Which again, I do want to say that the movement and the organization
Thank
two
you, Kenny
different
Powders.
things.
You saved us
Yeah,
on that.
so-
I got it back.
So
I'd
but-
agree with the statement.
Yeah, but
Black Lives Matter, the organization, like
yes.
you said, is
so
different.
so someone like me, I was for the statement, the movement of hey, let's stop this. The statistically unprecedented number
Well,
of
no, that's not true.
but it is though. But it
The
is.
statistics actually point in the opposite direction on that.
Yeah, more white people than black people. But it is what it is. Okay?
Well, that's true, but
we got to stay on one topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit of another but
But I feel
interesting
you, but I feel
topic.
you,
I mean,
feel you,
definitely
I feel you.
interesting. Yeah.
I feel you. I won't. I'm not going to dismiss it, but I feel you.
Yeah.
But when you have a book like Project 2025 that was written and funded by the Heritage Foundation and every major Republican donor, when the author of that book is Stephen Miller and they are open white nationalists, that being your administration, that being the person who's handing Donald Trump every piece of paper where he goes, what am I signing? Oh yeah, this is great, right? And it does this big fucking drawn out fucking
More or less, yeah.
yeah.
What's happening.
Okay.
Yep.
It's easy for someone like me to sit there and go, it seems as if he's being peddled shit, not knowing what he's signing because these are the people who funded his campaign.
That's any president ever.
But
No president knows anything, which is why everyone around them is hired to advise them. on
people are
their
hired
specific-
around them, yes, to help them.
They don't
to help
know
them
anything.
navigate. I don't think that's
Presidents are
necessarily
not
true.
experts in anything. They're experts at talking in front of a camera.
Barack
They're
Obama.
experts at producing an image.
Barack Obama was a professor of constitutional law. He's an expert on the Constitution.
Okay,
He's
all
an
right.
expert on law.
Okay, so if he was a lawyer, then
So
fine. I'll retract that and say
So-
he was a lawyer. But he's not an expert.
He's not.
in,
He's not an economist.
Right, he's not an
Exactly.
economist.
So,
He's not-
so you hire good people.
That's
And
my
yes,
point. So
but-
every
The job
president-
is so expansive. Nobody
Yes.
can be a,
Yeah.
Exactly.
But-
Every president,
exactly.
every
And
position
I
of
agree.
authority is relying on
100%.
their advisors
100%.
to
That's
feed
fair.
them,
That's
fair. Yes. But you
the
should
right
at least
information.
know what the fuck you're signing. You should at least be briefed.
I agree.
You have briefings. You have daily briefings.
Trust but
This is
verify.
your job.
Trust
Well,
but
also
verify.
the-
I agree.
We also, I think, with our president, what we would like to believe is that they have good judgment. Like some of the his legendary presidents, that's what we remember about them. Is in the moments of crisis or whatever, they had good judgment in
Right.
the moment, and they were willing to stand up for what was right. I mean, for all the flaws, because we're talking about like Trump and flaws, so we can criticize from the other side of the aisle a guy for us, JFK, a ton of personal character flaws. Nobody would necessarily be like, this
Correct.
is the perfect fucking man or perfect husband.
Cheat
or
on his
whatever.
wife.
All kinds of crazy shit with JFK. I mean, family tied to the mob, all that shit
Vietnam.
can be true, but they're
Let's not step over Vietnam in regards to JFK.
sure. But I mean, there's
That's a,
Well, I mean,
that's
but-
a not good one.
but there's literally, I mean, the government was trying to, and I'm sure they did because I'm cynical when it comes to the government. But it's like
As you
we're
should
trying
be.
to perform ops on, like, and Americans were going to die. I don't know. I got to look up the exact operation name or whatever. But it got all the way to the point of being put on JFK's desk. And Americans were going to die so they could end up invading Cuba or some shit. And he, at that point, was like, absolutely fucking not. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, that's just like, for all the fuck shit that we get into, and before the camera came on, we were talking about blood money and all that, and I
Yep.
didn't want to get into it, and you kind of, just barely kind of graze on it, but it's like, we have to look at our money. with
Oh,
a lot-
yeah.
It has a lot of
Oh,
fucking
my
blood on
God.
it. So it's like,
Brother, we
and-
started this country
so
off
for-
with some blood
for all
money.
the things that I wouldn't necessarily full on condone as a moral action. I would say in that position, the one thing that we ask mainly is that the judgment is on point. And I think that's one thing that I don't trust Trump's judgment, personally. That's why I wouldn't have, even though I was not going to vote for Joe Biden, or for Kamala Harris, Joe Biden. Just
Bad administration,
but
yeah.
But yeah, that administration, I wasn't going to vote in that direction. I couldn't vote for Trump in my perspective because I didn't trust him, even though I knew ultimately he may end up still be getting voted based
Right.
off the fraction on the liberal side of things. But you guys go ahead.
So what I was alluding to was,
Yeah.
with all that, and you know that the Heritage Foundation and them are the like far like Christian right, and a lot of that is you see the KKK and a lot of these fucked up movements are hidden behind religious guild or guide, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, shit, they call themselves the White Knights of Christ for the KKK. So you know all this to be true. Not one part of you would say that it's a possibility that this administration has white nationalists in it and they have a motive to what the whole movement has been is secure the sanctity of the white race in this country. So I worked with a guy, I'm not going to say names, with the prison, Aryan tattoos. That's how I know about that. Iron Cross,
Okay.
Aryan
Yeah,
tattoos.
it was the cross of Jerusalem. I had to get back off there because it blacked out our screen.
So the cross of Jerusalem is
but it was tied. It was tied to a
different claim
white
than an
nationalist
Aryan
group.
cross.
But when I read, it is a different claim. But I read a little bit more of it. It did say that it was tied to a white nationalist group. But I think
Right.
both things could still be true. Like people, like a great example, obviously, is the swastika. Like I mean,
Right.
people take on it, or what you were just saying with the KKK. People take on imagery and iconography and all this from other like groups,
Other sources,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then they say, hey, this is our shit now, and
Yeah.
and also the ideology, and it may tie into their ideology. I mean, it may be a white nationalist group that is also, to your point, religious in some way, have
Yeah.
some Christian quote unquote values. But I think I'm probably more, I wonder where you're at, but with what your claim is, I just take issue with it. Like, are there people that believe in white nationalism? Well, that's a really hard thing to say definitively. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could say broadly, and I could agree with you, kind of like, is there maybe people that lean in that direction? Probably, but then I would agree with Cody that there's always people, like, in some fucking, like, in Joe Biden's cabinet, do you think there was communists? Well, probably.
Probably,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
Yes.
but does that mean that
But-
Joe Biden's administration was communist?
No,
Well, no, of course
but-
not.
but-
I wouldn't say. Now, when you have a president that goes on autopilot and is just signing, using auto pen, that's a problem because then their cabinet might end up representing the actual policies
Right.
more than the president
That's a
does.
great point.
But
Right.
then you need the president, and I hope we can trust Trump in this way, even though I don't think the track record says that. But I hope that we can trust that in some shit that just is completely unacceptable, like for example Medicare or some shit like that being wiped out.
Right.
Yeah, I would hope that's going to be a red line for him, and he's going to say, "Well, no, we're not going to go that far with this," and he has so far.
Right. But
Go, I'm sorry, I want to
no, you're fine. You're
I
fine.
know you're thinking.
So, but what I was gonna say is, so after seeing the red, she had the same cross, but it was red on the back of his neck, and I saw it, and I said, hey man, we gotta talk. I gotta hear your story because my siblings and all that. So I was like, hey, just so you know, like I'm not cool with certain things. So he told me a story, and the story is he's a military vet, got caught up in some shit when he came back, had to go to prison because of his training, had to go maximum security, so he got ganged up, had to go with the Aryan Brotherhood, and he's an Odinist.
Did he go in California?
No, Florida.
Oh damn.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. So, but he's an Odinist, and what his explanation to me was, I'm not racist.
Yeah.
But if you look at the statistics in this country, the white race is going to become the minority, and that's a problem. We need to save the sanctity of the white race. And dude, there are factions in Inglewood. There are factions here. I mean, you can look.
That's not where I thought you were going to go with that.
But
he kind of went into prison and started buying into it.
No.
He's like, I'm not a racist, but come on, they kind of had good points.
I didn't know we were going here.
So, but
I thought you were going to say he did it for protection and then got out. And he's like, yeah.
So what I'm saying is, if that's the belief of these people, then and then you have someone like Stephen Miller, and you look at the Project 2025 and what it was all laying out. It's easy for people on my side to kind of connect those dots and say, hey, listen, man, you have a lot of these people around you. A lot of these people are your closest advisors. A lot of these people are the people that you're listening to. Elon Musk, his family were apartheids in South Africa. You know what they did with black people in South Africa at that time. So it's like when you look at all that, it's easy for me to say, hey, listen, man, there might be this white nationalist movement in there.
It doesn't mean they did anything to black people in Africa. Apartheid was just a separation.
Taking the land.
Which I'm not saying it's good.
They took the land. They took a lot.
Apartheid is separation. So, I mean, maybe Elon did do bad things to black people.
It was his family. It was his dad was their apartheid.
I think
that's somehow an indication.
Informs his upbringing. It's not like he literally did it, but informs his upbringing. But even then, to be honest with you, I would challenge you on that, and I would say, like, what the fuck is this like purity test that we're putting people through to where they can't like have some kind of like ideologies that might inform, like, because it's like where you draw that line becomes very weird. Like,
we're also very hypocritical about which ideologies we allow.
Sure.
And when the like directly opposing ideology is pushed, we don't like it.
Well, hold on.
I think where we're going with this, we're obviously getting into a conversation about racial collectivism and tribalism, which I think is just bad in general for every race.
Fair.
I think if white people...
You're so brave.
Yeah.
But that's because I agree with you.
No, but if you say, like... But if you suggest that there's racism against whites, you get laughed off.
No, there definitely is, but
it's not just I guess teaming up, for lack of a better word, or aligning with people based on race isn't good. But we celebrate it when it's certain groups.
I want to get right back.